Greetings, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. This is author John D. King just saying hello once again, signing in and just contemplating on some things. The last book that I wrote, The Journey, I hope you have gotten yourself a copy, Volume 1. It was a very spiritual book. Gotten into really good details. And Volume 2, it's already on the shelf, and that one is more of I'll say, a right now than a future representation of Volume 1. So Volume 2 is a right now thing. Volume 1 was more on a spiritual level. But I appreciate everything, and I hope everyone got what you got or is going to get what you need out of Volume 1 and Volume 2 of The Journey. Volume 2 does have a special guest. Take a look at that one. And I just hope everyone is doing well. Well, the reason why I got on this morning is the journey that takes place in Volume 1 is a journey of spiritual enhancement or spiritual growth. And taking that spiritual growth to another level. Because we have to understand, as being spiritual beings, we do not stay on one level. Spirituality is a constant progression. Like you're walking up a flight of steps. You're constantly moving forward with every single step you take. Every thought that you make, you're actually taking a step higher and further to a goal, to a destination, or living a spiritual life. Living that spiritual life, it connects to a higher power, some people may say. It connects to God. It connects to the things of God. It connects you to that spiritual dimension that everyone, but I'm not going to say everyone, but most people seek after. We live in a life of connecting with spiritual beings and connecting in the spiritual life. We gather ourselves into places of knowing that we can, and in a further progression. But I do urge you in these last and evil days to continue to walk as spiritual beings. Continue to progress in everything you do. Continue to move forward no matter of the circumstances that you are in. Building a spiritual life is a great experience. Some people may take that experience to different levels. Some people may say, oh, it's not for me. Some people may say, yes, it is for me. But I believe in building that spiritual level. Like in my first book, The Journey, Volume 1. If you have not yet gotten a copy, just send me an inbox or in this chat, and I will send you a free copy. I will trust you to, give a donation or pay the full price later on as you receive the book. But I know one thing in living a spiritual life, that no matter what you do, things may not always go your way by living a spiritual life. You may have some distractions along your journey in building that spiritual connection with God, or whatever you think your spiritual being, your higher place, whatever way that you put it. We live that spiritual life as being spiritual beings. And that's one thing I do know. That's one thing I will always run to and run after. Living that spiritual life. Connecting with the things of God and moving forward in everything that I try to move forward in. Without distraction. Without hesitation. But trying to build a spiritual connection with God and living my life on a higher level than what I live in the natural. But as being a natural being, your senses are natural. But you have to get out of the fact of having natural senses, because there are spiritual senses. I believe that when you live that spiritual life, things will manifest themselves in the spirit, and you will be able to recognize them in a spiritual realm. It's easy to see things in the natural realm because you're a natural being. That's your habitat. But having a spiritual life is a constant work. It's a constant progression. It's a constant move. It's a constant elevation. It's a constant prayer. It's a constant study. It's a constant meditation on the things of God. That's why living that spiritual life, a lot of people can't. They can get there. They can become spiritual. But sometimes it's hard to maintain a spiritual life. Sometimes it's hard to be on that spiritual level every single day, constantly. Today I'm just here thinking on some of the things that I wrote in my first book, The Journey, Volume 1. That spiritual connection is so important. That's why I wrote that book. That's why I spent so much time and labor in that book. But being that person of a spiritual person, or that spiritual connection with God, and learning, not just living, but learning. So I urge everyone to, if you can, grab a copy of my book, The Journey, and let us collaborate together and build a better, a stronger you and me. This is not just it's not just a book. It's a spiritual connection that I had in the process of this book with God. And the spiritual revelations that was given to me, and I shared it in the book. So the first book, The Journey, is a great book. I urge you to get it. If you don't have a copy, inbox me your address and I can send you one through the mail. What I mean as a spiritual and being a spiritual person is a lot of work to it. It's a lot of prayer. It's a lot of fasting. It's a lot of quiet time between you and God. It's a lot of meditation. It's a lot of stepping out of your natural self and stepping into a spiritual being. I can remember years ago I had a dream to where I left myself and I was flying over grasslands. And it looked like a never-ending sea of grass that I was flying over, and I was so excited, so happy just to be out of myself and free. That's how I felt when I had that dream of being out of myself, and it's felt like that my spirit left the natural realm and into the spiritual realm. That's what I felt in that dream. And there was many dreams that I had that I mentioned in the book, The Journey, the first volume, and in the second volume. I talked more in the second volume about the natural place that I was in. Volume 1, The Journey, is on a spiritual level. Volume 2 is a natural level. And both of those come together. And we even have that in the Lord's Prayer, where it says, Our Father art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In a natural realm as it is, and as it progresses into a spiritual realm. This is author John D. King, and if you just tuned in, I'm talking about my first book, The Journey, Volume 1, where I spoke and I received revelation on things in the spiritual realm, and I wrote it in that book, Some Dreams. That was in that book. That's in that book right now. I felt so free as being in a spiritual place. But sometimes we can't always stay spiritual because we live in a natural realm. We can't stay so high that we can't see what's in the realm of the natural that we are in. I can't stay on the spiritual level all day long because I have to come down to the natural and be in the natural to deal with the things or the people, the places in the natural. But when I do put myself or become in the spiritual realm, I see things on a different level. Like, let me say this, throughout my day I may be operating on the natural level because we must operate on a natural level to deal with the things of this world. But when I find my time in meditation, at the end of my day, I go back through that day and meditate on the things that I have done, received, went, people I've talked to, and then I look at it in a spiritual way to receive something spiritual or to get a revelation in a spiritual level, in a spiritual way. I hope I'm not confusing anyone, but it is more explanatory in my book, The Journey, Volume 1. And if you have not yet gotten a copy, if you'd like to purchase the copy, I can give you the link But if you like for me to send you a copy and you give me a donation for the copy, we can do that also. Just inbox me your address. Do not put it on the front page, but send it through a messenger, because I can get your address, then I can delete it after I use it, and send you out the book. I know that when we live on a spiritual level and try to stay in that level or on that platform, it can be tough. You might have feelings in the way, emotions, to keep you from standing on that platform, that spiritual platform, and engaging in the things on a spiritual level. I pray that you understand where I'm coming from, because I woke up with this morning, and I believe soon as you wake up, in that first 5 minutes, meditate on something positive, something of good report, something that makes you happy in the morning. And that will help you throughout your entire day. And even in that first 5 minutes can bring you into a spiritual prayer in the morning, a spiritual connection, so that your life, your day, your minute, your hour can go in the way of good things and of good report. So I pray that all is well. Getting ready to get off. That was on my mind this morning. The Journey, Volume 1. I will be back sometime in this week to read a few pages out of The Journey. Amen. God bless.